Have you ever felt like the person you're seeing was testing you? There are some subtle signs that a man is trying to test you for whatever it is. And I straight up decided to do some research, basically enlist the help of my male friends. And I said, what are some of the things that you do to test women? Why do you do them? Because those were legitimate questions that I had. And I didn't want to just go on the internet because I feel like the answer for everyone's going to be different. So I wrote down the main ones that I got, and a lot of them actually overlap. So let's get into it. So one of the first ways that was very common in a lot of the answers that I was getting was creating like a last minute plan. So any time of day, like whether it's in the morning saying, hey, do you want to do this at lunch? Or at nighttime saying, hey, do you want to, hey, big head, you up? Like those tests, the last minute tests. And what they explained that they were testing for was like, is she willing to move things around for me? I want to see how important I am to her. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, it actually really opened up my eyes. And like, basically, they're trying to test you to see how available you are. Now, I'm no expert, but the things that I do is I kind of, to be honest, for the most part, I say no. But sometimes I play it by my mood. Like, I'm like, am I bored? Am I this? Like, I really do some self-evaluation. Like, do I want to do this? Do I want to go watch a movie at 10 p.m. when I know that I have to be up at 8? That's ridiculous. I want to sleep. I value sleep more. So maybe, I don't know. I'm an introverted extrovert. So I feel like I kind of sometimes play it by mood, but for the most part, if I don't want to go, I don't go. And I've started to really recognize these tests. So I'm like, you could see me in a few days. And allowing, like, you have to also like give them some time to miss you. Like, give people some time to miss you, because if you're constantly available, you're just gonna get kind of like, I don't know if this happens with them, but it happens with me where I kind of just get annoyed. I'm like, okay, this is too much now. Like, I need my me time as well, right? So a lot of men are also looking at your response time. Like, are you taking 0.001 seconds to answer them back? Or are you taking an hour? Are you enjoying your day at work? Are you, spending consciously pre- present with your friends when you're with them and you're not really looking at your phone? So response time was a big one that a lot of them were like, yeah, like I want to see how available she is. I want to like, it's some sort of indication almost of like how interested is she in me. So me, my response to this, to be honest, is people are busy. Like, that's one thing that I've always like just kind of understood, especially once you get into, sorry, it's really cold in here. Once you get into entrepreneurship, there is no schedule. Honestly, there is no schedule. It's extremely stressful. Sometimes, like, once your phone has become business, like a business line of communication versus what it was before when you were like messaging people for keeping connections, you almost get annoyed sometimes when it's like late, maybe past like 7 p.m. and your phone's like going off. Sometimes you don't want to talk. That's just me. So I think when it comes to like response time, my reaction is my reaction. Like, if I'm on my phone, you might get a response really quickly, but I also feel like the time that someone responds to you doesn't really 100% indicate how interested they are in you. I think some people are also just busy. Like, that's my excuse. Like, I mean, it really is an excuse, because if I'm really interested in someone, I'm more inclined to answer quicker. But I'm also constantly working, so I'm not really on my phone that much. And some people are just not on their phone as much as everyone else is. So, and I do that consciously. Like, I'm not consciously always on my phone anymore because I don't think it's good for my mental health. So, response time is the big one, though. All of them said that. The third thing that's always tested for, and I feel like this has become a very hot topic, and it's like financial boundaries. So they are trying to, like, I don't even, there's so many games being played. When someone asks me out to dinner, I don't know if they actually want to go out to dinner, maybe try some vegan food, or if they want to see that I'm willing to go 50-50. Why is this a conversation? Listen, it's something that they test for though. They're like, I want to see if she's ever going to offer to pay for this. I want to see if she's a gold digger. You're going to see if she's a gold digger within the first dinner date that you want to go 50-50 on. I can't talk about this topic. I don't understand these games. I don't understand that game. If I went on, to be honest with you, if I went on a date with someone and they asked me to like pay 50-50, I'm not so sure they would get another date out of me, honestly. I grew up with a dad who literally would pay for like the whole table. He really financially took care of everything. So I just don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know that kind of energy. It's not that welcome anymore. Especially like just I don't know. It's just I'm not playing that game. I'm sorry. I can't. Number 5, this is the 5th test of independence. They want to check your level of independence. They want to see how reliant you are going to be on them. They want to see, are you your own woman? Do you have your own interests? Do you have your own hobbies? Do you have your own like life essentially outside of your relationship? We all have that one friend that for some reason when they get into a relationship they just disappear, like it becomes their whole life, and maybe that's what they wanted all along, but at the same time a lot of people do value their independence, and constantly being around someone, I feel like eventually you might get annoyed, like outside of marriage where you have like your kids, you guys have, but you still like have different lives, you have different jobs, you have, you know, your own space. I feel like a lot of them test for independence. This is just the data I've gathered, but they definitely check that. This is one that I really don't understand, but they're testing for jealousy. It might come up in a way where they're like, oh, you know, this past relationship, or maybe someone else that they were dating at some point, or like maybe mentioning like a celebrity and like talking about how attractive they are. I don't know why they do this, but they do it. They want to see if you're a jealous person. And I don't really know. Like, I feel like some people are like, oh, yeah, she's toxic. I like that. Jealousy. Come on. No, no, no. I think it's strange. I don't really like this one. And to be honest, like, it kind of gives you the ick too. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're on a date with someone and you're just talking about someone else. Like, that's kind of weird to me. I don't know. It is something that they test for. I don't know what they get out of that one, but I've found this is something that they do test for. Now, this is one that I've kind of just discovered on my own, but it's emotional reactions. Like, I had a situation once where somebody was trying to talk to me. To be honest, I wasn't even in the space. I was kind of just like, answer, whatever. I honestly was not invested in it. And I didn't text them back for maybe like 24 hours. I was busy. Honestly, I was busy. And they were like, oh, you failed the test. I was being tested. I am not in school. I am not a child. I didn't sign up for any courses. Tested on what? And he was like, I was trying to see, you know, if I didn't text you, would I hear from you? That's weird to me. It's kind of a little bit manipulative too. Like, and I think one of the things that was said was like, oh, I'm going to be busy for the next couple of days. So I was like, okay, like I consciously did not text you back like more than I don't know. But yeah, he said he actually flat out said he was testing me. And I was just like, okay. And I'm sorry. I think this is bad. It was a really long time ago. Before 25, my brain wasn't developed fully. And I had no reaction. To be honest, I didn't know. I was like, this is so weird. Why are you testing me? Like, you either what? And he was like really upset. And I'm not laughing that he was upset. I was just kind of like, what's happening right now? I was so confused. And I realized that I think my nonchalantness, a lot of it was actually out of confusion, but my nonchalantness was like really like, I don't know what was going on. I still don't know what was going on. But yeah, that's one that I've noticed. Like they'll try and like see how you react under like if you're gonna get like, a lot of anxiety without them messaging you and stuff. Like people have stuff to do. I'm not worried about that. Like if you're in a relationship with someone and they disappear for like days on end, that is definitely something to cause concern about. But that it was not the situation. I think in the beginning phases, like to do all of those weird tests is just kind of strange to me. I don't know. One of the other ways that I find that men will test you is your boundaries, whether it be physical. Maybe you're like, you want to wait for something, take some time, really get to know the person. Just pushing boundaries. I think this is where things can get a little bit murky because a lot of there's something that I read once, and it was in the book that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, and it was about almost like this child like poking, like I want to see how far I can get before they tell me stop. So it's I think it's something that's very common, like pushing the boundaries to see what you can get away with almost. That's kind of the idea. So you got to be really careful when you lay down boundaries and they're crossed deliberately. That's a test in itself. I think that's a test on both ends. You've got to really like have your backbone to be like, yeah, that was like not okay, and have the strength to leave or address it and stay. This was a really interesting one that I got, and it was basically trying to learn more about a man's personal life. Like, does she just talk about me? Or does she just talk about herself? Is she like self-absorbed? Is she just with me for a free meal? Like that's thoughts that like sometimes I have empathy for men because I'm like, it does take a lot to, you know, get back out there on their end too. But I feel like that's one that really took me off guard. Like they're like, I want to know that like, if this is for the intentional. This one is for the intentional daters, like the intentional males. They're kind of like, does she care about who I am? Is she trying to learn about me, or is the conversation just kind of like all about her goals, all about her interests, all about her hobbies, all about her life versus actually saying like, hey, so like tell me about yourself. That was a really interesting one. I was like, oh, you want people to know about you. That's cute. But important. I just thought it was just something that I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, obviously, you want there to be like a back and forth of exchange of information, exchange of energy, exchange of laughter, And yeah, that one really made me like, oh, like, because there's just some things that men are going through and you don't really even know until you talk to them. So that was a really good one. I was like, yes to that. That's an acceptable test. I think that's a really important test, even for women to do. Like, is the conversation one-sided? Like, am I dealing with a selfish person here? Does this person even care that I'm like right in front of them? Like, I left my house. I beat my face for this. I put on good clothes. I put on everything. What? What? So yeah, that was a really good one. So it took me off guard. Opinions and disagreements. This was an interesting one because this one was more, I think when they explained it to me, it wasn't so much as like religious beliefs, but it was more like social topics. Like they're like, if I feel this way about this, then like I need someone who like believes the same thing. And I was like, Okay, I can understand that. So like just having like disagreements about things, like are you disagreeing on certain things like to extremes, like the 50-50 thing? Are you disagreeing where you're like, I will absolutely not continue to date you if you believe in 50-50, and they're on their end they're like, I need 50-50 to for you to prove to me that it's not about money. Like those are two very opposing views, and eventually they're going to clash. So that's just one example, but there was a lot. Like even religion really can boil down to it, because if Christianity is all about being equally yoked. If your long-term goal is to get married and your partner is not a Christian, you may really and truly love them, but what does that like look like for your future in terms of you practicing your religion, right? A marriage might change that. So I think aligning those things was something that they actually really do pay very close attention to. Controversial topics, like some of them were like ridiculous, like who's the best rapper of all time, or like LeBron is not the new Jordan. Like just some of it is ridiculous. I don't watch even basketball, and I know some of this foolishness because of all these foolish debates, but that's one that was really important. Now, this is one that doesn't surprise me at all because it just makes sense. But a lot of men that I have spoke to have talked to me about like having support from their potential partner and being encouraged by their potential partner. You never really hear a man that you're like talking to say, hey, I need some words of encouragement right now. How often have you heard like, your male family members say that to you, or your guy friends say that to you? Like, I'm feeling so down. I need some words of encouragement. I need some mental and emotional support. I feel like as women, we're much more open with this, and we're more inclined to like reach out, like, girl, I'm having a breakdown. Oh my gosh, I need some help. Can you come over? I'll make popcorn for us. I'll have ice cream. Like that is sisterhood, right? You got your good times where you go out, but that is real sisterhood. Like, do you have support? Do you have encouragement? I don't think that a woman should be a man's sole resource of that. I do think that it should be something that's coming from yourself, but I do think that having an outside source of encouragement and a support group is very important. So I think they do have to have some level for themselves and maybe in their guy friends as well, but a lot of men are actually looking for it from women as well. Like, if you get married to someone and they have a business idea, are you going to be discouraging and say something that might harm, a goal that they've had for their future? Or are you going to be supportive, and are you going to speak life into birthing that idea, right? So that's something that, in terms of a lifelong partner, they are looking for that. They are looking for that. They are testing for that. And that concludes my research. That was the last tip on the things that, like, girl, he's testing you. These are the things that they test us on. And they were very open with telling me this. Some of them took me by surprise, and some of them were very helpful. If you have any questions that you want me to get the tea for, do some research for, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll try my best to get back to them. If you have anything that you want to ask me through social media, maybe that's a better platform for you. I'll link all of my handles below. And until next time, sisters.